Welcome to the channel. A couple days ago I picked up a new tool from Harbor Freight, a surfacing conditioning tool. And I've seen these things out there and they look pretty handy. I've got a project coming up. I thought it might work pretty good. So it's supposed to work good on rust. So I want to see how it does stripping paint as opposed to sander or grinder or even chemical stripper. So let's get this thing opened up and see what it looks like. Okay, this is a Bauer brand. Strip paint, remove rust, condition metal. It's got a 40 grit stripping drum, a 120 grit stripping drum, and a 240 grit drum. There's one of the drums there, 240 grit. That's pretty heavy duty. There's the 60 grit. That's the same thing as a cleanest strip wheel. They're usually about a 1/2 inch wide. That's a 4 inch. And this is the 120 grit. Got some tools here, Allen wrenches, socket headed bolts that these fit in, and it looks like some key stock here for something. Looks like an auxiliary handle you'd put on the top. It even got a couple extra brushes here for the motor. I've never seen that before. I've never seen a tool come with extra parts. I don't know if that means they're going to wear out quick or they're just being generous. Let's take a look at this. Okay, this thing looks pretty heavy duty. That's got to weigh probably 4 or 5 pounds. That's pretty stout. Pull the trigger here. Looks like it has a lock, and it also has a speed control. I could probably look at the instructions and see more about it. And actually, that's a long power cord. I'm not sure how long it is. It's got to be maybe 7 feet, but it's kind of rare anymore to see an electric power tool come with a long cord, but that would be really handy. Let's see what's in this package. Leave those brushes in there. The instructions cover the usual electrical requirements. Make sure it's grounded outlet, safety precautions, make sure you use a respirator, eye protection. Okay, and the handle, it says you have to use the handle, don't operate it without it. So let's put that on there. Let's put a drum on here. That's what the wrench is for there. And it says there's a lock button here to keep it from rotating. It says turn clockwise. Okay, so it's reverse thread. We're going to start with the 60 grit. That's what that key stock is for. That locks it into the drive shaft. So it looks like we can drop that down there, put one of those in there, another one there. You just have to always remember this is reverse thread. Okay, it said actually to put the tool on the surface you're going to work on and then pull the trigger, then let it build up speed. They don't want you to crank the thing up and without any load on it. I got a piece of rusty metal I want to try this on, so let's start with that. Okay, before I put on my PPE, I just wanted to pull the trigger and see how this thing feels before I start using it. So it's actually got a real slow response time. I'm pulling the trigger fully and it takes a while to ramp up. Usually on electric tools, they're instantly up to speed. It's probably got a gear reduction in here, and I imagine they run a belt to drive this. Let's see what the speed control does. So there's low speed right there. Let me get on my gear and we'll start. Actually, I'm impressed with that. That does a nice job on getting this rust off. You know, it's not taking it all the way down. There's a lot of pitting in this old piece of metal, but as far as cleaning up, if you're going to paint this with something like Rust-Oleum or a tractor paint, that's actually a very nice job. It smooths everything out. It takes all the big stuff off. It was quick. It was smooth to run. It didn't really vibrate. So I'm going to get a fender set up, and I want to see how it's going to work on paint, something for the automotive side of it. Okay, I'm going to use the same 60 grit. It may be a little bit rough for this. I'm going to see what it does to the metal and how fast it removes the paint. Then I'm going to switch to the finer grit drums. Okay, not really overly fast on that. It's really no quicker than taking a DA with 80 grit or something. And it's not a real smooth surface. If you've got a panel that you just want to take the paint off to refinish, I don't think that'd be the way to go, because it does put a lot of marks in the metal, and they'll come out with the other drums. I got the 120 grit drum on there next. I'm going to go over this metal, clean it up some, and then take some paint off, see how that works. Next, I'm going to use the 240 grit. Okay, the 240 grit sands the metal down pretty nice, makes it pretty smooth, doesn't really take paint off too much. It's like anything, the 240 grit is probably going to remove the 120 scratches, but it kind of polishes it, and the metal's nice and smooth. As far as stripping paint with the 240 and the 120 grit, I don't think that's really the way to go. But overall, it looks good, it's smooth, and it kind of feathered the paint. Okay, my final thoughts on this. It's actually a pretty nice tool. It seems to be built well, it's heavy. Time will tell how long it holds up. I thought maybe the 120 grit would strip paint a little bit quicker than it does. It really doesn't do much to it. You have to start with the 60 grit first. If you've got a flat panel, a hood or a deck lid or something you're using on, may have an issue with heat buildup and warping, so that's something to consider. But as far as rust removal, I was impressed the way it worked. This is just a limited test here, so over time, I've got the project coming up is what I bought it for. I'm going to see how it works. But you know, for $150, it's not breaking the bank. My initial thought is I like the tool, but time will tell how it'll work out. So that'll do it for this video. Thanks for watching.